You gotta stick with it.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. We are doing, what is it, episode 5 of our Dolmenwood campaign using old school essentials, playing old school D&D. I am the referee, John, and going around the horn here we have our normal players, Mike, David, Matt, and Ted, playing Elfric the Magic User, Snell the Hunter, Halifax, Sweeney the Knight, and Argus Dregar the Fighter. With what constitution, Ted?
It's a 15, Ted?
It's a 5. It's a 5, everybody.
Oh, 5 for episode 5. That's fantastic.
Oh,
cheers to that. We're going to mention what Ted's constitution is.
Yeah, that's your bonus. That's your bonus, right, Ted?
Yeah, exactly.
And frankly, no one thought you would make it to episode 5.
Yeah.
I stand by the fact that he will survive longer than any of us, purely because he has a 5 con.
Someone mentioned that in the comments for the last session, that it
Oh,
was
really?
kind of funny that the guy with con 5 was the only one left standing.
Precisely,
yeah. All right, so we are back in Prigwort after a devastating turn at the Abbey, where you were far outmatched by the undead creature, the agglomeration of crow corpses and whatnot that was decidedly protective of the 3 children, Violet, Harrowmoor, Bilbrey, and Willie? Bilbrey and Willie, I believe, are the names. So you left them after getting your butts kicked, went back to the trappers' camp, slept, and then made your way back to Prigwort. So that was the 13th of Limewild. I was rewatching the episode and I realized that we never actually rolled for weather on that day. However, you have rolled into town at 5 p.m., so I'm just willing to kind of forgo it and just say that it was fine enough for travel, even though it was cold. So no big deal.
No, we did roll for weather on 13th Limewild.
Freezing rain, okay.
It was freezing rain. Not enough to obscure the trail, but just bad enough for us to have a miserable walk home.
Just to rub it in.
At least we had some nice mushrooms on the way, right?
True.
True.
Yes. So just logistically wise, and just so that you're aware of the things that are affecting you right now and to catch other people up, this is your status as far as PC goes. Let's get the easy one out of the way. Argus, you're doing fine. Completely full. You have single-handedly saved the party by dragging them out of the ruins of the Abbey and getting them healed overnight, and then in walking edition to get back. Then going from worst to best, we'll start with Snell. So Snell, you have a vicious wound that was raked across the entire side of your face. I don't care which one you decide for it to actually be, but it does go directly over your eye. You missed losing an eye by this much. You have a relatively clean bandage, which basically covers the entire swath of your face, almost, right? Very noticeable. It is, it quickly soaks through with blood. Thankfully, the wound itself has not festered, so it's okay. But you're going to have a vicious scar once it heals. Mechanically, you are, even after you recover from this, you are concussed. All right, so you do not know for how long, but you've got a little bit of brain damage because of how badly hurt that you were, and you for mechanically what this is going to reflect upon you is that you are going to have the slow trait, as if every weapon you wielded had the slow trait, and you've got to wear that bandage basically for a while.
Okay.
So slow basically means, like, in combat, you will always attack last in the round, no matter which side wins initiative. You yourself will always attack last. You also have the blackening disease, whatever that happens to be. Whatever that means, you were not able to discover yet. Then, moving on to Elfric, our magic user. You have blood loss, so your maximum hit points are capped 1 lower. So what's your max hit points? 3 then?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. You also have the blackening disease. And then Halifax, our knight, your left arm is completely disabled, right? It got mangled up so bad that it's not broken, but it's just unusable, right? So you also do not know for how long, but you can use nothing in your left arm, which is your shield arm, I believe, not your primary arm, right?
This is true. I did checking my inventory. I don't even have a shield.
Right.
So there.
You carry a 2-handed weapon, or
No, I just didn't roll for getting to have a shield, and I couldn't afford one.
So, and you were also,
okay.
I remember we rolled to see which arm, and you were carrying Willie underneath that arm, or one of the kids.
Oh yeah.
So
And,
I've got the plate mail, so I'm just gonna.
So it's not a huge deal. So you just can't carry anything in that off arm, but it doesn't affect your ability to wield normally with your dominant hand, whatever you like to wield. So, and you also have the blackening disease. So only Argus is basically at baseline.
But what's his con?
Yeah, his con is no bueno. Is what it is. Okay, so now I'm just going by what you guys had decided at the end of the last session, but of course I'm not going to hold you to it. But this is just kind of what you had told me that you wanted to do at the end. So you arrived in town at 5 p.m. because you were going along the road as fast as you possibly could in the freezing rain. You arrived, you went directly to the Clashed Antler, and your plan was originally to just buy one of those private shacks that was out in the beer garden. Then you decided that the pressing business of knowing where Lady Violet is and the danger that those children are in, that you were going to go talk to the Ducal Knights, who you know are staying at the Wrinkled Medlar Inn, which is the nicest inn in town, across town basically. And you were decided that with your appearance, your how awful you guys look, that your desperation would sell more by going there immediately without having them come to you while you were sitting in front of a fire and getting warm and feeling better about yourself. So is that still the plan?
Yeah.
Yeah, that all makes sense to me.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
Before we leave this tavern, can Snell buy everyone around and say,
Save your money, dude.
"Well,
We are broke.
I'd say I have egg on my face, but I believe it was crow."
Save your money, man. We are broke. But I do have a question, John.
You had crow in your face, not on your face.
Betwixt my face.
Based on how the long walk, freezing rain, bad wounds and stuff. Do my companions here feel like they are able to go do what we just described? Like, or are they literally on their last legs and we need to do something?
Mechanically, you're exactly as functional as you were going home.
Okay.
I'm just saying for flavor purposes, like you said, it's freezing rain. You just had an extremely long journey. It's the end of the day.
Right.
You're mentally you're defeated as well, and you're just feeling awful. I mean, you're just constant pain. And you know what I mean? Like, and you look at. Right. There's no hiding the fact that you guys are in desperate straits, but you can walk to the Wrinkled Medlar. That's not an issue. Yeah.
Well,
I'm not planning on fighting these guys.
No. But I mean, if you're going to get mechanical, is the blackening like? Do we notice any effects from that at this point?
No, I think we mentioned that in the morning that you noticed that on all three of the folks who had it, that it had the radius of the blackening around the wounds had increased a little bit, but because of the extreme pain and fatigue that you guys have suffered in general, it's hard to pinpoint if there are any further bad effects yet, right?
Then let's go.
Just to drop that too, just to remind everyone that Snell, you had mentioned that you might want to go talk to Wyrmspittle, the herbalist, in order to find out more about that, or if
100%.
If
yes,
you think
I
that
still
they
want
may
to.
have the answer. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Also,
after we talk to the Ducal Knights and all that, I think I would.
Like we could talk to the
Yeah.
wizard that I kind of made a connection with
Also true.
2 sessions ago. I'm forgetting his name,
Also-
but he was really nice to me and was actually willing to take me on as a student, kind of thing.
That's
So
Mosselmeyer Druge.
thank you, Mosselmeyer Drew. So we might be able to at least hit him up and see if he knows what this crow thing is.
Do you think he'll be upset that we went to do that prior to his job?
Yeah,
I don't think so. He said there was no time frame on
That's
the
true. That's
I
true.
know. But wizards say a lot of things.
Hey,
Do not,
as soon as I have more than one spell, you better watch out.
do not meddle in the affairs of wizards.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
All right.
So
So, let's
make,
go to the
Meddling guy.
Okay, so you make your way to the Wrinkled Medlar. So you're basically going from just outside the northern wall of town. You're basically doing a straight shot down to the southern end of town. So you're crossing through the market square again. It's around 5 p.m., 5:30 or so. Similar to the way that when you entered, not a lot of people out in the streets because it is raining and awful today. The people who do see you give you a very wide berth. They don't want anything to do with you. You enter to get to the Wrinkled Medlar. You actually enter. It actually fronts a small little courtyard called the Earl's Court. Let me get the map up here. There we go. So, Clash Antler is right around here.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Going all the way down, and you're heading to the Wrinkled Medlar, which is right here. And it faces the Earl's Court. So, the Earl's Court is a... Now, you're going through in the pouring rain, so like the pitter-patter of freezing rain is hitting the cobblestone courtyard here, which is a little bit different than the rest of the city, which is not paved. And it has a charming fountain in the center, and there are benches that are cloistered among rose-clad nooks. The statue itself is a golden statue. When you look at it, you realize that it's actually just painted yellow, but it's obviously supposed to look like gold. And in the pouring rain, you see that it's depicting a statue of a portly, regal-dressed gentleman raising a goblet high in toast. He's got a wide grin on his face. The word on the street is that this purportedly represents the famed or infamous, depending on your opinion, Earl of Yellow, the apparent fairy lord that is the patron protector of the people of Prigwort. So, the Wrinkled Medlar.
Oh my God, it's on the map. You can see it.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's a little statue.
Love
That's
all the
really
maps.
nice.
Cute.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
These maps just blow me away.
Very, very good maps.
So the
Yeah.
Wrinkled Medlar is easily the nicest inn in town, and it's a huge 3-wing building. It has a big courtyard in front of it that has like statuary in it, a fountain, and as well. And the ground floor is constructed of ancient stone blocks, and the upper story is like wood beamed, right, like a Tudor sort of style. But the outside of it is actually painted with murals of the town market, so like in a nice way. Then there is an archway in the center that goes through the courtyard right into the main entrance, and you see through the door, you see that it is quite different than your typical inn, in that it much more appears like you would think like a modern day restaurant. Is in there are tables where there are liveried servants waiting on those tables, quiet. There is a large stage near the far end as well, where there is no one singing at present, although there is lanterns that are lighting the stage from many different angles. Let me just give me 1 second here. So it's a curated balance between dim rustic coziness and timeless elegance, especially when you're looking in from the rain like this. You just kind of want to get in there as quickly as possible. Tables have linens on them, candles, silver cutlery, that whole thing. So there is basically a host stand when you arrive in, and there is a very striking, very beautiful woman that is standing behind it. She's very tall, very slender. She has cropped brown hair and a scintillating smile, and she's wearing like a very simple, tasteful scarlet gown, wearing earrings as well. And
Like a hostess.
that's what she looks like to you. She's standing behind the host stand. Now she sees,
Right.
I'm assuming Argus is probably the first one in, since he's the most presentable. But she smiles as she kind of looks up from her ledger, and she
Right.
looks up at you, ready to greet, and she's like, "Welcome." And then she's like, her face falls when she sees the rest of you, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. We really can't let you in. You might find better accommodations over at Raptappin's Quadrant, perhaps, or perhaps the Clashed Antler, if you're willing to make the walk."
I'll take off my grotty, rusty old helmet and begging your pardon, but we've actually not come for accommodations. We're looking for the Duke's Knights. We have urgent business message for them. Would you mind telling them we're here?
She kind of taps her ledger and she looks over, and you see that she actually does kind of look over at a table where they're near the fire, where there is actually, you see the 3 knights have that you recognize, that one woman and the 2 men have taken off their armor, and they are lounging peacefully over some what appears to be wine over in a far corner. And she's, they are here, but I don't believe they're expecting you. I'm terribly
No,
sorry, but
it's-
you can understand. I mean, look at there's blood every.
Miss, I understand. That's how urgent this is.
Could you give
It's-
me?
I would
it's-
not be here.
Could you inform me?
It's quite pressing. It involves House Harrowmoor and the girl who's gone missing.
Mike, you can just talk. Go ahead.
I want to try and ask you something. I don't want to interrupt the flow, so I'm happy to wait.
Go
But
ahead.
Hi, Mike.
is there an opportunity that I could have memorized new spells today and actually have made it ventriloquism?
Why?
Because
Yeah, we didn't.
I'm
ask-
gonna make their like roast pork sandwich sitting in front of them. Like, hey, there's a group of adventurers at the front door. They're not gonna let us in. However, we have found Lady Violet, and we need to consult with you about how to move forward.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Yeah, sure. Why not?
All right, cool.
So, as you're casting the spell, which is not like a subtle thing, right? You can see that she looks over at you and she's looking at you very suspiciously, like, "What is your
trying to
friend
get her-
do?" And her eyes widen as she sees his like
No,
mystical
no.
sigils, like.
Oh, no, he had a head wound.
Yeah. And
Please tell the night.
then you hear like seats like screech back from tables as the three knights like they bolt up and they whip their heads around to the front and they see you and their eyes widen in incredulity. And you see that as well, someone that was near the knights, actually close to the stage, a very strange looking fellow. This man, this is an example of the anachronisms I was talking about that you'll find often in Dolmenwood. This man has a towering powdered wig, white painted cheeks, white painted face with red rouge on his cheeks, a beauty mark on the left cheek, a waistcoat and tight-fitting pantaloons, and a cane. Waistcoat, he stands up every bit the dandy from Amadeus, and you see him also like sort of as he's like, "Oh my!" as he sees the knights stand up as well, and he follows their line of sight to you guys, and he makes his sauntering way over to the hostess as well. And you see that as the dukes as the Ducal Knights sort of make their way over, this man sort of scoots in front of them quickly, quite obviously scoots in front, and he puts a fawning hand on the bare skin of the hostess's shoulder, where you can see a definite twitch of revulsion from the
From
host,
her?
right? Yeah, and
Yeah.
he says, "My dear Madrid, do tell me who these gentlemen are. We don't usually get folk of this ilk here, the Wrinkled Medlar." And she says, I'm so sorry, in all this hubbub. She's looking back behind her where the noise came from. She says, "I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Madrid Hydeball. I'm one of the three proprietors of the Wrinkled Medlar. And this, I should introduce, I suppose, is one Sprewdiman Kneeve, the representative of the Bardic Guild," she says. And he's like, "Ah, it is quite a delight to meet you, gentlemen." And he does like a low bow, and like the powdered wig like basically like shakes off like a big fluff of powder onto Argus,
Give a little bow, and my arm kind of flops around.
You said Sprewdiman? Neve?
Sprewdiman Kneeve.
Van.
Sprewdiman Kneeve. Kneeve. And he says, "Indeed, I do have the honor of being the guild's representative here in Prigwort. I book all of the performances here on the stage. Alas, the Velvet Touch, who was supposed to be doing a sabbatical here for some time, is gone missing, and we are without a performer. I was wondering if perhaps, just judging by the look of you fellows, that you have been out on the road, in the cold, in the misery, and perhaps would be able to tell me if you had found my dear friend, the Bard Cranduil Carryman, otherwise known as the velvet touch.
Yeah, begging your pardon, Governor. I'm sure he's been eaten by bears. It's rather important I speak to the knights.
Oh my, bears! And then you see like he gets like shoved to the side physically by Lady Beth Milda. She's like, enough, Sprewdiman. We've all heard the stories about your missing bard. We do not have the time. And she looks sternly at all of you, and she says, "Gentlemen,
I'm very sorry, but I really have to talk to the knights. They're right behind you.
No, you are
Please.
talking to the knights. This is Lady Beth Milda."
Okay.
Oh, I thought that you. Okay, Beth Milda
She
said that.
Do,
right.
do I not look like a knight to you?
Listen, lady.
All right, you're in civilian clothes.
How
Right.
dare
You remember how
Yeah, make our obeisances. Is that how
Yeah.
you say that?
this is
So,
on you, man.
Are these the same knights that we met previously? Because Halifax talked to them. It was okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's Sir Kestifer, Sir Gustavin, and Lady Beth
Can we
Milda.
not talk about this in the lobby? Either bring them outside or go to a private room, because we don't need every Tom, Dick, and Harry knowing what
True.
is going
That's true.
Yeah, so they obviously they look at you and they look over their shoulders at you, Elfric, and it was your voice that we heard coming from our pork.
Yeah, indeed. I bring out my holy symbol and, reminding them that I am a mage that is vetted by the church.
Highly
I just say-
irregular and unnecessary, especially in an establishment such as this.
I understand, however, we could not waste time banding words with this esteemed lady here in order to meet with you. We have news of the utmost importance to the Harrowmoor
Yes.
kingdom.
Very well, yes. I can see that something amiss has taken place. So please, yes, Madrid, if you don't mind, we would like some privacy. Please allow these gentlemen to come in. We will obviously not have them public-facing for the time being. Please enter in. Madrid said, "Of course, we will bring something to the table." And
Quite clean and
so
presentable.
you are brought to like a private room. There are two actual wide spiral staircases, like in a manor style, that actually go up to an elevated level that actually looks over the stage, so that like the best seats in the house. There's actually another private bar upstairs where like the real genteel clients live or can sit and
Hang
watch the
out.
stage. Yeah. There are two twin brothers who are actually Madrid's older brothers who actually also run the day-to-day operations as well. And they are large, stocky men with slick back black hair, but obviously related to Madrid, but they're both, you can't tell them apart. They're quiet and they don't like the looks of you at all, but they obviously see that you're been vetted, so they take you upstairs, and so you have this nice quiet, it's very nice and warm, sitting at a nice linen table, which you immediately soil.
In more ways than one.
Yeah.
Because
And-
we're like Big Pen from Peanuts. We just have dust clouds coming off of us.
blood and
Yeah.
feathers. And all
Yeah,
kinds
it's
of weird
awful.
stuff.
You look absolutely awful. Like Snell has like a seeping wound on his face, So
Nice
they
furniture.
look very concerned. Like their brows are lowered, and they're they wait impatiently for like the servants to sort of just bring you like a round of like mulled wine or something like that. It's very good
Right.
because you're in Prigwort, of course. But still the adrenaline's still sort of pumping through your veins. So they say,
Who wants
please,
to
what is going on?
This is Halifax's, man.
This has got to be him.
Okay.
But sirs, obviously, this is not how we would normally choose to come see you, but our urgency was pressing. We have news. I'm afraid dire news of the missing Princess Violet of House Harrowmoor.
Yes, we had heard rumors of such. Didn't put much account to them. But yes, okay. So what news do you have?
We can attest. We followed up on rumors that she may have been taken by brigands, possibly to the Abbey. Take advantage of the reputation that has. It tends to
course.
make most people shy away.
Well deserved, and I assume these brigands got the best of you, judging by the looks of you.
Unfortunately, these were no mere brigands. There seems to be something very supernatural at work here. Good news is that we were actually able to locate her. She was there. She seemed of health. However, she seemed most definitely bewitched by the creature the very, very powerful creature that attacked and overcame us as we tried to bring the young girl home.
That is dire news and most unwelcome. So you are saying that, obviously through no fault of your own, you were forced to leave the children in danger. Is that correct?
You were unable to save them.
Well,
we barely escaped, as you can see, with our lives.
the silver lining, of course, being that you were able to locate her, which I assume the Lady Harrowmoor has not. That, I suppose, is a blessing in disguise. But we serve the Duke. We do not serve Lady Harrowmoor. Why come to us?
It was hope against hope that you might be able to help in the short term. We're in no shape to travel to House Harrowmoor tonight to tell her ourselves. We thought maybe you might be of some assistance in trying to help her, and if not, perhaps you might even be willing to accompany us to House Harrowmoor tomorrow on morn to help advise her.
I'm afraid. Beth Milda sort of intervenes, and she does generally look sorry, but she says, "As I told you a scant few days ago, we are on the search and for the rogue prismist Marjoram Gryver, who we have now discovered probably is most likely hidden along somewhere in the vicinity of Fog Lake to the south. And we ourselves, since no one has taken up our petition, are going to be mounting an expedition to the south in order to hunt her down. And though we, of course, are very concerned for the well-being of the heir to House Harrowmoor, the threat of the rogue prismist is much more on the Duke's mind than the well-being of House Harrowmoor, and the rogue prismist is wanted for sedition and theft of ducal property, and she is extremely dangerous, and so our priorities lie with her. Now, that is not to say that we will not aid you as best as we can. What I would suggest, although we ourselves cannot help you, who can help you is the Elevated Council here, the Elevated Council of Brewers. They rule the town, but they owe their fealty, at least in name, to the Lady Harrowmoor. Should you approach them at the town hall, they would, of course, send a messenger with great haste to House Harrowmoor with the news, should you not be able to make the journey yourself. And if they should show any reluctance, we would put the weight of the Duke behind your words.
My lady, that is actually what we are hoping to achieve. We are wanderers and adventurers of no great repute, and our word here in Prigwort may not carry the weight of yourselves. But I assure you that the tale that we tell is true, and that the danger that the heir of Harrowmoor faces is extreme. So, if there is any way that you can lend your voice to our pleas, we fought the creature, and I'll describe the creature without going into too much detail. Mm-hmm. We fought the creature to the best of our ability, but we were overmatched easily. And we shudder to think what will happen to the princess. She's not a princess. What is she? She's
she's the heir to House
Princess.
Harrowmoor. She's a princess and everything. Right. Name, yeah.
Shudder to think what will happen to the princess if she's left in the custody of such a creature for any length of time.
Indeed, the matter is pressing. There is no doubt. I would venture. Actually, we'll say this is Sir Kestifer, the older gentleman. He sort of blows out his mustache and he points up a finger and he's like, "I would venture that your being sort of unnoticed here in town, that might change with what news you've brought back from the Abbey. You will not be able to lie in the shadows for long. I feel, for good or ill, but and." The younger one, Sir Gestaven, he actually kind of taps Lady Beth Milda on the shoulder, and she looks over, and they both smile as they kind of look back at you, and they say, "Well, wouldn't you know it?" And they point over the railing down at a table that's sort of near the stage. I'm actually talking to Sprewdiman right now. are two women that you have met before at the Clashed Antler. Well, no, you haven't met them, I suppose. You never talked to them, but you did see them. Two
The handsome women
yes,
that were complaining about their drinks or whatever.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I can't remember exactly how I described them the last time, so this might be completely contradicting what I said in the original episode. But one of them has raven black hair, and the other one dark. Copper red, like auburn hair. They have a torque around their neck of like a double eagle. It was like a pewter torque, and they said, "Well, as you can see here, you may be actually to make your petition here if you'd like. We can offer introductions, should you wish. That is," and he points to the black-haired one. "That is Defnemini Hedger of House Halfwooden. And next to her, her good friend, although always a rival, is Persimmon Ogsbody of House Ogsbody. Two.
Good Lord, these names.
Two of two of the Elevated Council."
And we invite them up, possibly?
It might be, although we do carry some authority here, that it might be better to go to them. They are the rulers of the town.
Oh, I meant go down and then invite them up and not have this conversation out in the middle of the common room.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, if you like. Is that what you would like? You don't have...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if they wouldn't mind.
Please express our apologies, but look at the state of us. We don't want to cause a disturbance again.
Also, at the same time, I should say that there has been some servants have been called, and servers are bringing forth like what should I say, like claws to like wipe yourself off and to clean yourself up as best you possibly can, that sort of thing. If you allow them, they will strip you of your traveling clothes and soiled clothes and stuff like that, and offer to wash them. You know, that sort of thing, if you like, right?
We're up there just getting disrobed. Yeah, no problem.
No, it's more like the outer clothing, right? Like it's all like your,
cloaks and whatnot, not our skivvies.
Yeah,
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm down to my breech clout.
It's one of those places that has the loner jacket.
Yeah,
you might be more comfortable in
it.
this.
Would be. It totally would be that place if it was modern. Yeah. All right. So they bring up. So they send word down, and after a little bit of consternation, the two women come up. They appear to be enjoying a where is it here? We won't. Whatever. Where is it? Doesn't really matter, but what is it called? A wine. What is it called? Sorry. Oh, it's called Lady Mauve. It's called delicate violet wine that is known to be imported from Fairy.
Mm-hmm.
So very, very rare.
That's my favorite.
Completely not affordable to the likes of you.
I steal it.
But they come up, and you can see that as they come up, you overhear them as they're kind of having a conversation as they walk over, that they're discussing how they are certain that a man by the name of Heged Axminster of the Oath and the Oast must be keeping an illegal stash of unmarked spirits somewhere on the premises, and if they can find some way to get in there without causing a stir, that man is going away, is going to go under. And then you kind of...
That was the guy that was a jerk to us, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, let's sell him up the river right now.
Yeah.
We saw guys unloading and loading stuff.
Totally did.
And you remember...
tell him right now.
You remember as well that the first time you saw these two women at the Clash to Antler, they were drinking something, and they were very upset by what they were drinking.
Right. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Right.
Yeah, because they're part of the Brewers Council, right? So they're all interested in liquor laws and purity and taxes.
Yeah. This is the town for that. Like, it's literally a town ruled by brewers, right? By the heads of these households.
Moving.
Yeah. So this is the heads of House Halfwooden and House Ogsbody, Defnemini and Persimmon. And we can cut to the chase if you like, if you want to just tell them the situation, right?
Want to be narcs in general? just I mean, like I'm want to. I didn't like the guy, but do we want to be narcs? I don't know.
I'm not an informer, dude.
I don't know if I want to be a narc.
A narc for what?
It-
For
Well,
Haggett.
Haggett up the river
Yeah.
because they're not narcs, but the guy's a jerk. And
He's a jerk. I didn't like him at all.
I would happily trade his ass for their aid with Violet.
Fair. I agree.
You know, what's he?
Yeah, if we need to, we can pull that card.
Yeah.
So just so
I
we're not
think
repeating
that's
ourselves, we
very
don't
wise.
have to have the same conversation. If you're going to tell the exact information to Dynamite and Persimmon,
Absolutely.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so
Halifax will be differential and bow and all that stuff.
yes, so they are obviously concerned as well. Now, even though they are high ladies, they are their reaction to it is a lot different than Lady Beth Mild is. Although it's concern, but there's also a great deal of fear behind their eyes as well. Like if they don't do something about this, it's going to reflect poorly on the Elevated Council, and and it's quite obvious that the reason is that part of the reason that the Elevated Council enjoys so much authority in Prigwort is because Lady Harrowmoor knows a good thing when she sees it. They pay their taxes and they pay them, well and on time all the time, and so therefore she has a light touch when it comes to sticking your nose in Prigwort business, which is why everyone is so concerned about this garrison being built on the western side of town, because what does it mean and why are these people coming in, and these are Harrowmoor people that are building these, these are all the laborers you saw at the Clash Stanley, right? So they want that status quo to basically remain as much as it is right now. So they're like, all right, there is no time to waste. It is dark out now because it is it's
winter.
Yeah, it's winter, so by 5:30ish it's definitely dark. So they said, regardless, we will send out our messenger right away. They put up a finger. A livery servant immediately comes over. That livery servant runs down to Madrid, down to the front, and Madrid sends another servant out the front door immediately. And the Deft Enmity tells you that they're going straight to the town hall to go get a messenger.
John, one additional thing that I think we would say that, or at least Halifax would say they didn't have time to mention to the Knights, these more local leaders would mention the other two children as well and ask if there have been other children missing, because we did find Violet, but we found these other two children with him, and he'd share the names and their rough descriptions as well.
Willie and Bilbrey.
Right. So they, as much as it pains them to admit it, of course, like, times being what they are, children go missing a lot. But they're very unhappy to hear that, but they have no knowledge of any other missing children. But they will put forth feelers in order to see if there are any parents who are looking for, or any guardians that are looking for children of that description as well. So they ask you, do you wish to, if you like, it would obviously be safer for the messenger to leave on the morrow, when perhaps the weather will break and where his horse was less likely to break a leg. In that case, and she looks at you like very sort of, the two women sort of look at you like they don't really think that you're going to answer yes, but you never know. You are the only eyewitnesses to the actual location and state of Lady Violet, and your word would carry great weight with the lady herself. That said, I completely understand if you need to convalesce for some times in order to rest and get better. But if you wish for the messenger to wait on the morrow and see how you feel, you may accompany him to House Harrowmoor in the morn.
I will go if you ask it.
I agree. We have already given so much to the discovery of the princess that to not give a little bit more seems churlish.
Yeah, I agree.
This is true. I would obviously I almost gave my life once for this save this poor girl. I would do it again.
Okay.
I would, begging your honor's pardon, I hate to be the bearer of realistic news, but of course I don't have a horse like the messenger does. So I'm afraid I might be keeping him slowed down.
We will of course provide you with horses.
Marvelous! I'm entirely in favor of this plan.
And then of course their business, like, to be returned to us, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
So
all right, cool.
What they do offer you in addition is rooms here at the Wrinkled Medlar. which are very not cheap. So it's a pretty nice, cushy rest that you can get. And of course, they send out a messenger to halt the messenger, and we tell them to wait till the morning.
We're not going tonight. I thought we were going to go tonight.
No, I think we're going to go in the morning.
Snow and rain. It's a bad idea. We'll all break legs.
I'd like to.
All right, can you have the herbalist come visit us here at the inn?
No.
Wyrmspittle. We can't. You want me to go get him?
If you mention that aloud, like the Elevated Brewers and the Ducal Knights are like, you don't ask Edgar to come to you.
We fear we've been poisoned by the creature, and I show like my wounds that are with the. Trust me,
you're worried. I'm not worried.
They suddenly are drawn to the wounds on you, what's actually going on there, and they're like, that was not mentioned before. Yes, a visit to Wyrmspittle would be very, very a very good idea. In that note, gentlemen, it's very, very good that we've seen you and talked to you, and so glad that you've spread this news. Now we really must be going.
No hugs? Come on, just 2 hugs.
Yeah.
Sorry, one arm doesn't work.
So the 2 elevated council women, they go about their business. The knights as well are also going to retire. So be aware that they are going to, because no one picked up the job immediately, they're going to go down to Falg Lake and go see what they can see down there. Just be aware. But they did not retract the reward. So do remember that they offered 2,000 pieces of gold for that rogue prismist.
If they're starting an expedition, can we sign on with the expedition for some sort of decreased reward?
They leave in the morning.
I think we're committed on this Violet thing. Thanks a lot, Halifax. So I say we stick with it.
Okay.
Now, would we know if the herbalist is like shut down for the night, that we should go in the morning, or might there be a chance that he would still be open?
They tell you that he was probably close to closing up shop, but if you go now, you could probably catch him.
Let's go.
All right.
Run!
So
drag our body parts.
Back out into the rain you go.
Okay, so I'm not sick. Argus has never been at such a nice hotel, and he wants to enjoy it. He's going to go steal the shampoo and, put on the bathrobe and everything.
Okay.
So if they're giving me a room, he's going to go, have a hot bath and whatnot.
Okay, cool.
Jump from one bed to the other.
Yeah, so, I'm going to mess it up.
Argus, as the other 3 leave, and you're like, which way is my room? And, Madrid's helping you out. Sprewdiman flutters up to you. He's like, Mr. Dreger, isn't it? Does that
it is?
Does that speak of your origin in the town of Dreg?
Yes.
Oh my, such an exotic place. You must know Madame Shantywood on Shantywood Isle, yes? You do, of course. Shantywood Isle is actually an island that is in the midst of the river Hameth, which Dreg borders. And it is actually, because of a quirk of legal fate, is its own sovereign nation. And the lady Madame Shantywood runs a very well-known and infamous house of ill repute atop the Isle of Shantywood.
I used to guard the bridge on Tuesdays. It didn't pay very well.
Really?
Beer is frankly swill.
Well, I know that you must get your rest, but I just wanted to put forth that the fate of my poor velvet touch is really quite of great importance to me and to the Bardic Guild at large, and you would be well rewarded and well regarded, not only within Dolmenwood, but outside the boundaries, within the duchy itself, perhaps the entire domain, should you bring this man back safely to the Wrinkled Medlar. I just want to put it out there.
Yeah.
That he was last seen upon calling during market day in the town square, talking to those rather scandalous women who come into town every collie to sell their pastries at their stall. looked quite taken with them, and he left arm in arm with 3 of them, out to the eastern road, I should say.
Wait a minute. I've heard a story about pastry women. Did you tell us this? Or did I read this in the guide that you gave us?
Why, I don't know. My name is Sprewdiman. I don't
No, this came
sell
up
travel guides to Dolmenwood.
This came up. I recognize pastry
Hughes
women.
last-
Well, don't
Bring
look
out the
into it too much, or you might spoil yourself of a fun adventure.
Okay. So you're saying I should not have heard of them, is what you're saying.
Correct.
Sounds
Okay,
correct.
fine. All right.
There's something going on with those women. Their pastries are quite delightful. But I should say that the miller has remarked upon me, he is one of our finest patrons here, I should say, that their orders for flour at their bakery are insufficient for the amount of pastry that they actually produce. So much, in such quantity. Strange, I say. And having a bakery out in the woods off the road. Strange.
Witches. Smell a witch.
Anyways,
Next one to no one.
Crandeel Carryman is a man who has a weakness for the fairer sex, shall we say, and I fear that they may have taken advantage of him.
Well, I should hope so.
Hopefully,
Oh,
the
you
end
mean-
result of this is just a lovely experience that will incorporate into his songs of dalliance among peasant women out in the forest. But
Like one of those Toorah ballads.
indeed, lo,
Ooh, I like those. Those are nice.
ribaldry is not one of my favorite genres of song, but I suppose in
Well,
drag,
I mean-
that may be all there is to come by.
His name's the Velvet Touch. I mean, right? Right?
It's the touch of his tongue, sir. Oh my!
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I'll just put 2 and 2 together.
Uh-huh. All right.
Anyways,
I don't want to spoil anything for you.
so enjoy your rest.
Thank you.
So you guys go to Wyrmspittle's. So Wyrmspittle's, as you can see on the map, is where's my little pointer thingy?
Way over in the west.
See it, yeah.
It's actually not too far away from you, right? So because you guys are here, right?
That's great.
So
We can barely walk at this point.
True. Everything's a great distance out in the cold. So this is an interesting building because it's there's actually a small little bridge that spans the street at this point. So if any of you guys are familiar with Florence or have seen pictures or whatever like that over the River Arno, there is a bridge where there are actually buildings that are perched on the edge of the bridge, right? Shops and whatnot. This is similar to that, but a much smaller bridge that's just spanning a street. But he has his shop is teetering on the edge of this bridge, and you actually have to go up an iron staircase up to the top to actually enter this shop. And it's sort of like this rickety sort of taller than it is wide sort of shop that you enter into, and you see that there is indeed the proprietor himself, one Edgar Wyrmspittle, shaven-headed man in his 50s, arched eyebrows, a silver ring in his ear, and he has a long pipe in his lips, which smoke is coming out of. He has a forked beard and a dangling mustache, and he is dressed in genteel tweed in a burgundy velvet smoking jacket, because of course he is. So he kind of arches his already arched eyebrows at you, and he says, "I was just closing up shop, gentlemen. What can I help?" And then he sees the state of you as you walk in. And he's like, "I suppose you might be looking for some remedies. Well, come on in then. Quickly now."
Do anything quickly, but okay.
So the sign of Wyrmspittle's is a green scaled worm, WYRM, drooling into a glass vial, which is pretty cool. So he's got your typical. It's very much like more an apothecary, right, than what you would typically picture like an herbalist shop, right? So it's less like witchy and verbena and more like like a pharmacist, right? You know, everything's proper. So there's, you know, a counter and shelves with particular items and herbs and admixtures and tonics and all sorts of things. You know, a wonderland of strange fungi and herbs and brews and things like that. It says, so let's have a look at you. And he very like forwardly like grasps your chin, you know, and like yanks your head to the side, and like if you'll let him, he'll like take his fingers and like open up your eyeballs, you know what I mean, and take a look at you.
I'll give him a real brief rundown of like what we encountered, and then I'll show him the spreading black marks in our wounds.
He yanks his hand back when he sees it, and he says, "Aye, that's the death rot you got there. That is."
That old thing.
You see his head shake as you know, because you were covered basically head to toe, but then when you kind of roll back your sleeves and he sees it, you know, he says, "That's, gentlemen, I don't know how to put this to you, but it appears this time on Earth has come to its end in short time."
How long do we got, Doc?
Well, and he looks at all three of you, and it's not a pretty picture, and I'm going to break it to you like it is. Basically, it's going to be a long and protracted and painful death as your flesh slowly blackens and necrotizes. Your limbs will begin to rot and fall off, and then you will die in screaming agony. So I would say by the state of your
Okay.
So,
oh my God, you guys should borrow a ton of money.
He'll go in order. He goes, I would say that you, sir, and he looks at young squire, not yet a knight, nor you will you. Well, anyways, yes, you will probably. I would give you. Let me look at my notes here. Don't want to tell you the time.
3 years.
Don't want to be inaccurate on the time of your death.
6 days.
I give you about hard to say, but probably about 6 weeks, Mr. Swinney.
Well, we can do a ton in 6 weeks.
Why bother? I'm going to start my
a little
next
bit
character.
less advanced for you, Hunter. Although you look like you've gotten the worse for wear in the short term. Probably about three weeks for you, judging by the size of these rings. Sir, you, I'd say 2 weeks, unfortunately.
Me?
Yes, I'm afraid 2 weeks.
Oh dear.
I suggest you
2
don't
weeks.
waste any time enjoying those pleasures that can be found. Look, gentlemen, the silver lining, you're in Prigwort. Plenty to amuse you in your last days. Now, if I were you, I would go down to the town of Dreg, where there is a madam there on Shantywood Isle who you would be able to while away your last days in the greatest of ease and pleasure, and then sign off on this mortal coil with no remorse. Now,
So, is there any possible cure?
What about the option where we fix this somehow?
he like one eyebrow raises again, and he takes like a long puff on his pipe, blows it out. He's thinking, you know, and well, short of a servant of God who is particularly blessed with curative abilities, which I should note, someone of that sort of power could probably, if at all, be found only in Castle Brackenwold, amongst the highest echelon of the servants of the bishop himself. I would say that the only known antidote is an extremely rare root known as the Knobbled Mandrake.
Oh.
I myself have only actually held it in my hand once previously in life. It is known, how it came to be in my possession was actually through an inheritance, if you would believe it. But the previous proprietor of this shop, who I will not mention his name, reported to me that the person that brought it to him found the Knobbled Mandrake in a place that you may have heard of called the Golden Wood, to the southeast. Now, it's very difficult to find even there, but travelers, basically, you can make your way to the Golden Wood if you travel southeast towards the refuge of St. Key, which is along the road back to Castle Brackenwold, and then traveling northeast once you take respite at the Abbey itself. Or, if you'd like, you could take the Mulcher's Path towards Orbswallow, the Moss Dwarf community of Orbswallow, and head south from that town. And you will have to wander in the woods, perhaps get lost, and many dangers abound within the Golden Wood, for it is the domain of the Earl in Yellow and his servitors. He claims dominion over it as part of an extension of his fairy realm here in the mortal world. And his servants wander and patrol the Golden Wood all the time. So it is steeped in fairy, and there are many tricks and traps for the unwary within. This is the only known place, and that itself is only a rumor, where the Nobbled Mandrake can be found. Now, the Nobbled Mandrake, in stories, is known for its ability to, if you eat it, it can actually restore lost limbs and appendages. But I believe that if you bring it back to me, I would be able to use its properties in order to cure the death rot.
And you would do that in return for whatever leftover Nobbled Mandrake we bring you.
Yes, I would certainly do that for you.
Okay. All right, boys. Looks like we got a mission. I got 2 weeks.
We have a shopping trip.
She goes, when you're like, well, that's obviously where we're going. He's like, I fear I may have spoken too soon. I may not have gotten across exactly how dangerous this is. You may have a better chance of survival by actually walking up to the doors of the bishop's palace and attempting to gain audience with the bishop himself to perform a ritual upon you. For the wood is extremely dangerous. You should also be even more cautious should you find one of the 7 yellow doors. It's whispered that those who step uninvited into the fairy realm of Wyforth will meet with a terrible fate.
More terrible than rotting alive.
He just he throws up his hands and takes another puff of his pipe, you know.
Can I have some of that? Voice cracks.
Gentlemen, let's go.
Man.
We got a night and a nice fancy inn to enjoy. Let's go.
All right.
Is there anything that can delay? Anything can stave off the effects to give us a little more time?
I'm afraid not.
Cut off the limb.
And he you see that like the little black dots are around your wounds and stuff like that, and answer. Well, Argus, you're not there, but we'll pretend someone else said it. And he
Halifax was kind of thinking that anyway.
There you go. Okay.
So he'll pull down like the collar of your tunic, Halifax, and he points to the other. He points at something on Halifax's neck so that the other two of you can see it, and he says, "I'm afraid not." And you look and you see that there's spots growing on his neck.
Cut off his head. He doesn't need it.
Now,
If we just cut here.
What if we were to destroy the creature that infected us?
well, I don't see. I mean, obviously, its ability to infect others would be curtailed significantly, I suppose, upon its death. But I'm afraid it does no effect on you. As far as I know, I mean, who knows? I don't really truck in the mystical, as it were. Leave that to Mosselmeyer Drew, should you wish answers in that arena. But, on the other hand, I don't have anything that can stave this, but I do have quite a plethora of other herbs and admixtures here, should you wish. I will put this up here just so that you guys can see it. Let me switch this screen, and we'll get this up here. If you take a look at Owlbear in a moment.
This is shopping list here. His menu. Ooh.
So,
you had some money.
the way this works is that these are the generally known. These are not all the hidden ones, right, that you may discover through your travels. But these are the ones that can be usually gotten at a reputable herbalist or apothecary, which Edgar is. But you can see that there is rarity. So if you want anything, I don't think you can afford any of this shit. But But any of the more uncommon stuff, you have to roll to see if he has it in stock. Now, I will say this: he does keep 2 home. Yeah, Mike.
Garlic is 5 gold pieces.
I was literally about to say the same thing.
Garlic is 5 gold pieces. I think
This
there's a
is
little
the
bit
good vampire garlic, though. Come on.
Yeah, and we're not. Yeah, these are doses too. This isn't like the kind that you shave and put in your spaghetti. You know. So now he has 2 other things that he actually makes himself that he always has in stock. Even the common stuff that is on this list, you could buy him out of. Like he wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like he's only got so much of it, even though the common stuff is always there.
Makes sense, yeah.
But stuff that he actually is his home brewed stuff, you can get at any time. So 2 things. There's one that he just calls Wyrmspittle. It's just called Wyrmspittle. It's the house remedy. It's an herbal admixture. It is 5 gold pieces per dose. What it does is if you take it, if you apply it to your wounds, you gain 1 extra hit point per day of complete bed rest. So complete bed rest is the one that gives you 1d3 hit points if you do the complete day. So you would automatically gain at least 2 if you use the 5 GP per dose. Then he has an alchemical compound which he calls Brewmaster's Balsam. This is extremely expensive, but you should probably know about it. Maybe write it down for when you do have the money to buy it. It's 200 gold per jar of 3 doses. So there's 3 doses per jar. It cannot be divvied up. It has to be given to you and sealed in this particular glass jar. It is an extremely volatile black gloop that stored in these glass jars. If you take a dose and you apply it to wounds, immediately after combat, it heals 1d4 hit points. Ooh. However, the effects of it in the bloodstream cause a -1 penalty to armor class and saving throw until you have had a night's rest. And that side effect is cumulative. So if you use multiple doses, to heal someone after combat, then those penalties rack up. Okay?
Got it.
So he has that at all times. The summary of effects on these mushrooms and herbs are also just very, very bare bones. So if you want any more details about the exact effects of any of those that you're interested in, just let me know.
Like the garlic, which is obviously not just regular garlic.
It's artisanal vampire garlic, please.
Right. Is it like a concentrated oil of garlic or something?
Well, it's helpful against vampires.
Not any like garlic bread is gonna ward off a vampire. You gotta get the good stuff.
With the 2 weeks,
you literally
let's
just said we could
discuss
ask.
garlic.
You just said we could ask about it. I'm asking about the garlic. What's the deal? That's what I'm like. Is it how's it dosed? What is? I'm just curious. Like, what's the setup for that?
It is like normal garlic. It's just like it's like in a large quantity, and it's sort of like like what do you call it? Like a big string of
the rope.
Yeah, rope.
Yeah.
And it is effective against repelling vampires. Like that's what he tells you, anyways. So that it will aid in the.
Okay.
It will keep them away. It acts as sort of like a protection against vampires.
Okay.
I always thought those were but a myth. Vampires.
Good thing those aren't real.
Well, dare you take the risk after what you've seen? Better buy some garlic, he says. To be sure.
Do you have anything for and he would describe kind of thing that Mr. Rag'n'Bones seemed to be, that you could transform and control these murders of crows and birds.
You must think that I purvey magical equipment or some such. I assure you that I do not. I do not have any control over the undead.
Well, if there's garlic can work against vampires, maybe there's a bird seed or something that can work against.
I'm afraid not. And like this is what he has, and he may not have all of that.
Well, gentlemen, our wizard has 2 weeks to live. It sounds like a long journey, no matter where we head. So, where can we steal a horse?
We're getting
morning.
Yeah, we're getting horses in the morning.
No, I know, but we are to return the horses, so that's something to keep in the back of your head.
It's fine.
Well, I can always return my horse with the story of how you were attacked by bears and eaten with your horse. Very sad what happened. I did my best to defend you.
And the horse.
Oh yeah, I meant did my best to defend the horse. Yes.
Who knows? My lady may take pity on us and allow us the use of some horses in the search of our cure.
Or give you a note to take to the bishop.
Let's wrap it up. Come on, guys. We got things to do.
All right.
Okay.
Off to the end and a night's rest.
Time for a good night's sleep and a
You sure you don't want that round now, Argus?
All right, so you go to sleep. You have a well-deserved rest at the Wrinkled Medlar, and we wake up on the 14th of Limewild, so it is sunning, which is basically like Sunday. It is wintertime, so I will need a 2d6 roll, please.
You also got to roll for hit points. How many hit points do we get back?
It's just one.
You just get one.
We don't.
Oh,
we only roll if we take 24 hours.
That's correct. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm at 2 hit points then. I'm feeling great.
2 hit points, baby.
Yep. Everyone gets a hit point. So roll me 2d6, please.
I just did.
Oh,
I just did.
On the owlbear?
Yeah.
I don't see it.
Oh, what do I have to do? I have to do something special to make a show?
You shouldn't, but
John, do you see my roll? I rolled a 4 and a 1.
I see nothing.
I don't either.
Weird.
Are you on roll 20 right now?
I'll roll one and see if you guys can see it.
That's a different VTT.
This map is a little strange.
I see it. You rolled a 7. It's a nice
7.
What is it?
Well, that bullshit.
I rolled a 7.
Okay, 7. Nice. That's the best roll you can get in wintertime. So it's a clear and cold day.
Amazing.
All right, so you're gonna go north to Harrowmoor Keep, I hear.
Yes.
Is that the dealio? All right.
Yes.
Okay. 1 second, please.
Are we getting the messenger with us as well?
Yeah.
Or
Well,
yeah, okay.
If you don't want him. I mean,
Yeah,
there's no real reason for him now if you're going to be the messengers. It's up to you.
Well,
I think it's good because it lends legitimacy that we went to the town first, and
I agree with that. Yeah.
if
I'm going to memorize ventriloquism again.
Okay.
because talking work, man, it's surprisingly effective.
Snell, you find Snell outside in the cold, just sort of sitting, staring off in the distance. Not entirely there.
Yeah, so
Thinking about mortality. Do you guys tell Argus that you're about to die?
Yes.
Yes.
we are about to die. Salute you.
He is distraught.
Yeah.
This is terrible. He's so unhappy.
All right, so the rain, there's a coating of ice on the ground and all that kind of good stuff from the freezing rain, but it's a nice, clear, cold day. The horses are snuffling, blowing out their cold breath into the air, as are you, as you meet up with this messenger, who we will call. I just happen to have a Dolmenwood name generator.
Venus.
We will call him D20 roll. His name is.
It's not right.
We're gonna call him. I don't like that name. I'm rolling again. Grintog. Grintog the messenger. So, Grintog is a little more than a teenager, but he can ride a horse real well. And he has the livery of House Ogsbody on him. One of the elevated councils, and he's going to go with you guys. So you guys are going to ride out the where is it here? The
North Gate, right?
The North Gate, which is the Groaning Gate, out the Harrow Road, so right past the front door of the Clashed Antler, where you actually have rooms. And make your way north towards the Groaning Lock and the seat of House Harrowmoor. And with that, I just want to take a quick break so that we can all go to the bathroom and I can grab myself another Guinness. So we will be...
This podcast brought to you by Guinness.
Right back.
We need some sponsorship.
Okie dokie, and we're back with empty bladders and refilled glasses. So we're going to head to the Harrowmoor Keep to the north. All right, so you guys have all been given riding horses, basically, as fast as you can, and you are wished well by the Elevated Council to get news of Lady Violet's location as quickly as possible to Lady Harrowmoor at Harrowmoor Keep. So there is a road here. The Harrow Road is a little bit narrower than the Swinney Road and the Horse Eye Road that goes back to Castle Brackenwold. But you travel through the tangled forest north of Prigwort for some time along the road, and you enter into an area of gloomy, rugged woods now that are dotted with jagged fingers of dark granite that actually kind of pop up from time. Yes?
Can you put the map back on? We've still got Prigwort on the screen.
Oh, yeah, sure. Let me switch that.
Thanks. There we go. Okay, so Harrow Road north out of Prigwort.
Yes, the Harrow Road. Yeah.
Prigwort. Okay, I see it. I got it. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay. So, yeah. So jagged figures of dark granite start to appear in the forest as well. And yeah, so it's a craggy forest here. Now, as you enter the area around this, near to the keep, you, Elfric, another feeling comes over you, a different one. Now, remember, in Prigwort, it's the moaning of the dead. Around the Abbey, it was the gaze of a pitiless malevolence. Here, a different one. Yet again, you're not quite sure what the hell is going on in this wood, but you perceive the feeling of having just awoken from a dream. So there's always something like tantalizing in the back of your head, like you just can't quite grasp it, right? Like, and everything, it just sort of, you're perceived as if you're sort of in a dreamlike state as you near Harrowmoor Keep. So I do need, let's see, what do we got here? We got that. Checking out some mechanics here for traveling through the wild. Craggy Forest. You're on a road. Yeah, so even on the road in this sort of heavy, rugged forest, it's going to be 25% slower than normal. Your riding horses are going to give you what? Where are you here? Player's Tome. There you are. Get a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Riding horse is going to move at 240, so that's going to be pretty fast. What is that? 240 divided by 5 is what?
240 divided by 5 is going to be
48.
40 something.
Something, yeah.
48.
Okay, yeah, so it's really fast. So that means that you can move 48 miles per day, which is incredibly fast.
Wow.
Consider that before when you were on foot with the armored guys, you were moving 12 miles a day, right? So 48 is, that's 8 hexes a day if you were able to just book it across the, in an open field, basically. But you are in a craggy forest, so it's going to take, let's see, 25% slower. That's yeah. Still, not that long.
Probably get there before midday, right?
Yeah, actually. Yep. Fast ride. Assuming that nothing happens. It is a clear, cold day, so you got nothing really holding you back except for the cragginess of the forest and your chances of getting lost. But guess who you've got with you?
We brought a messenger.
Okay.
You got a hunter.
Oh. The messenger is of no use at all.
The lost thing is what it's referring to.
Also,
Oh,
I mean,
right.
there's a road. Like, how easy is it to lose your lost when you're on a road?
We're in the Dolmen.
Yeah, it is not. It is very not easy to get lost, which is what I'm looking up right now.
We could manage it, I bet.
Almost extreme weather conditions. Yeah, so that's not going to affect you here. All right. So I'm just ticking off my boxes about wilderness travel, and as I get used to this hex travel, it'll become more second nature to all of us. But basically, just so you guys are aware as well, so if we can kind of work through this together. Is you wake up in the day, and when I'm this is for all hex travel, right? You wake up in the day, I'm going to ask you where you're going and how you're going to get there. Right. Then I check for weather. So depending on your mode of travel, where you're going, so the type of environment that it is, whether or not you're using horses or roads, what the weather is affecting your visibility, will all affect like your movement rate and your chances of getting lost, right? So then what I do is I check to see if you're going to get lost. If you're on a road, unless it's extremely severe weather conditions, you have a very small chance of getting lost, if at all. So you're not going to have to roll for this time. So we roll for getting lost. Then I check for encounters for the day, and then I'm going to ask you if you want to forage, hunt, or fish, right? Hunting and fishing is an all-day activity where you don't move at all. Foraging is something that you can do while you're on the move. If you want to do focused foraging, where you're much more likely to find what you want, for instance, knobbled mandrake, focused foraging will be something that you have to do for a full day. And then I want to ask if you want to search the hex, right? This is the most important one, right? You guys did this back in episode 1 or 2, where you vastly reduce the amount of miles that you can travel, but you are sure to uncover any secrets in the hex. If you say to me that you are not searching the hex, which I assume that is the case now, where you're just going as fast as you possibly can upon the road, you risk the chance of missing secrets in the hex, and you will only see the ones that would be readily noticeable upon the road, right? Or encountered upon the road. Understood?
Yep.
That all makes sense?
John,
Okay.
excuse me 1 minute. I just got to go check on a kid.
Yeah,
I'll be
sure. Yeah,
I'll be right back.
No worries. All right. So with that said, I am going to roll a little thingy thing here, if you don't mind. 1 second. I'm gonna hide that little jobby right there, and then I'm going to do a little bit of this action. Okay. All right. So yes, you're going to come across. Okay, great. So I got a bunch of PDFs up here, so I just got to check what's going on here. All right. Yeah, okay, cool. So you pound down the road as fast as you possibly can through this area with these dark granite cliffs and the gloomy, rugged woods. Soon enough, you can hear groaning, like a groaning wind coming from up the north that you can't quite make up what exactly that is indicative of. Doesn't seem to bother Grintog at all as you guys keep pounding down the road. And soon enough, as the road is about to sort of make an easterly turn upon the cliffs of the loch itself, you come across the great and forbidding Harrowmoor Keep. So it's perched atop these high granite cliffs, and upon the southern bank of the groaning loch, and the full majesty of it can't quite be appreciated unless you're actually down in the loch itself, like down at the base of these cliffs where you kind of see it perched high upon the cliff, but you're actually on top of these cliffs as you come across on the road, right? So it's heavily fortified, very tall. It has steeply roofed turrets at each corner, and a little stroke of fear goes through all of you as you are greeted by the cawing of many crows that are all roosting within in each of those towers. The gates are facing southward as you come up on the road, and you can hear that groaning wind and feel it as well as it comes rolling up over the cliffs itself. It looks very forbidding. And you pound, the gate is opened. They appear to recognize the livery worn by Grintog, also the livery worn by Halifax, and you are ushered into the keep proper. So the interior halls of Harrowmoor Keep are they're chilly, echoing stone, starkly decorated in sort of high-minded fashion with ancient tapestries, lots of ancestral suits of armor along the wall, lots of ornamental pole arms and banners and heraldry and all that kind of stuff, all rife with the red banner of House Harrowmoor that you've seen on on young, or I should say, elderly Swinny's shoulder. He's a little bit older for a squire. So
Soon ceased.
yes, so you're not greeted well when you come in. Like, it's not like they roll out the red carpet for you. There's a very sort of austere formality and a general notion that by the servants that you're not really wanted here. Not in like a, it's an evil place. It's just they're they don't really like visitors. They kind of keep to themselves. So I assume that you deliver the news to those.
We do.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Well, I think we let Halifax do it, but yeah.
Right. So, of course, that is from the lowliest servant to the highest. You are the attitude changes like immediately. Right. It's like come this way right away. Quickly. You're not moving fast enough. And it's and you are quickly ushered into the presence of the Lady Harrowmoor herself, who is right here.
Ooh.
So she is a let's see, where is she here?
Matt, we just met Lady Harrowmoor.
She hates you.
Yeah, I'm afraid we may have told her some stuff.
He said you can become a knight in 8 weeks.
So she's a towering woman. She actually towers over the rest of you. You can immediately see the resemblance to Violet. She's in her mid-30s. She has close crop but like sumptuous black locks, eyes of large eyes of like the coolest gray, right? And she's dressed in white, vaguely sort of like clerical sort of robes. Okay.
Interesting.
Now you see as she comes up that she is not in a suspicious sort of way, but she's putting away into her white robe that flute that you see in her hand there. It's a long wooden flute. Yeah. So you meet her basically not in the throne room, but more in like a salon, like a very austere salon. And she, despite having heard the news that someone knows where her daughter is, she kind of comes in, but like very sort of regally as she refuses, no hair untucked, right? Very Lady Moraine from Wheel of Time, right? So she just kind of comes right in, and she's like, you have very regal tones, gentlemen, I hear you have news of my daughter. Out with it then.
Like, bow deeply.
Matt,
And then
I think
Matt.
You're muted, Matt.
No.
Yep, there you go.
Plug and replug. Yes, absolutely. We spared no time at all in getting to you right away. Good news is she is alive. It seems that she is in good health. Bad news.
I know both of these
shakes
things.
his-
Tell me something I don't know. Where is she?
She is in the she's in the old Abbey.
The Abbey of St.
Apparently,
Cloud, that cursed place?
yes,
Right, so
yes.
mom-
We went searching for her. There were rumors that brigands may have taken her there. That was not the case. No, she seems to have been bewitched.
By which manner of creature? By a witch?
Oh,
By one of the Droon? Who?
we don't
it's,
know.
Mr. Raggenbones, your ladyship. Old
We-
Mr. Raggenbones.
Master Swinner,
We
tell your
don't know.
friend there to stop speaking nonsense. Tell me exactly who has my daughter.
That was the forgive his insolence, lady, but that is the name that was given to us of the creature. This was a magical creature that could transform itself into a murder of crows, and you can see by the state of us, we were barely able to escape with our lives when we tried to rescue.
Her
Princess
eyes
Violet.
widen, and as she hears the description of this thing, and she's like, a gloam. It must be. I did not think that they still existed. It must be have been attracted to all of the evil that has infested that site at the Abbey. How did Violet find her way there? How did the gloam? Perhaps the gloam was here. She could see her kind of rolling it around in her head.
Forgive me, my lady. Forgive me, my lady, but you do have a large number of crows here, which seems to be associated with a creature that, frankly, has claimed our lives. We met with an apothecary in Prigwort. He says that the majority of our party has been infected with a fatal disease in combat with this creature.
That is
so
ill news. That is so unfortunate to hear. And I cannot even begin to thank you for braving the dangers of the Abbey in order to find my lost child without any sort of prompting. Quite an amazing feat of bravery, if not. And she smiles grimly of foolhardiness as she kind of looks over your sorry ass forms.
It was Halifax's idea there, your ladyship. He's quite devoted to the House Harrowmoor, and he insisted. And well, being as we're all comrades, we figured, yeah, right. Let's go save the little girl.
Indeed, my lady. As soon as we came to Prigwort and heard of her disappearance, I couldn't do anything but my best to bring her home.
You are a true servant of House Harrowmoor, Master Swinney. I do remember seeing you at court. Your master was, not your master. Your mentor was Sir. And this is your point, Matt. I have two possible names. Is your mentor knight a male or a female?
Let's go female.
Female. Okay, cool. Your mentor knight was the Sir Eleanor. Is that correct? That is correct.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
She puts up a finger, and like a servant that was, like a footman, like way back in the shadows, it just immediately disappears through the door. And we will tell Sir Eleanor of the execution of your duty. Now, so you are saying that my daughter and her two friends are still in the clutches of this gloam in the Abbey, in the bell tower.
This is true. We almost lost our lives in trying to help them escape. We seemed to be under the spell of this creature. They didn't want to leave.
The gloam are collecting creatures. That is what they do. Always macabre objects for some strange, unknown reason, putting them to macabre uses. But they don't like to do the collecting themselves. They delight in charming the innocent, either the feeble-minded or children or truly devout, pious servants of the church, into doing their bidding and forcing them to unwillingly to by coercing their minds into collecting the pieces for themselves. It is likely, now that I think of it, and as you brought up, Elfric, that it used the cover of our own rooks to infiltrate the castle and charm my poor Violet and take her away for its nefarious purposes. The only beneficial side of the situation that I can see is that it is probably perfectly safe, that my daughter is probably perfectly safe while being protected by this awful creature, as evidenced by your attempts to free her.
She did seem unharmed.
But
one.
Yep.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I would just say, sorry to interject, Lady Harrowmoor. One thing your daughter did mention was that she was speaking with you through a locket about her neck regularly. I was suspicious that this was in fact you, but I can't help but ask.
She looks at you and kind of narrows her eyes a little bit and smiles a little bit. It's like, She was not as canny as I was hoping she would be. Probably effects of being charmed by the creature. But yes, that is indeed true. And she reaches down into her bodice and pulls out another locket, a similar locket to the one that you saw. And she says, yes, with this, that has been in my family for many generations, daughter is able to talk to mother and back, and vice versa, but only those relations. And I have been able to talk to her, but she has been unable or unwilling to relay her location. And now, of course, the final piece of the puzzle. I now know why she was unable to do so. The effects of the gloam. This is how, of course, I know that she is in good health, and that she is alive.
She claimed to have always been there, very obviously bewitched by this.
Yes, that's according to what I know about the gloam. Then that does fall in line with what the lore tells me. John, should go back and correct that. It's not only daughter to mother. It's you can communicate with your mother by using the locket, regardless of your gender.
Oh,
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
John, I want to take an opportunity to make sure that Lady Harrowmoor finds out that the Brewers Council were instrumental in getting us here quickly. Full support. Great concern for your daughter, et cetera, et cetera.
Noted, of course.
Loaned us these horses. Yeah.
She nods to Grintog, who bows deeply. The Elevated Council is always at your service, great lady. We do so wish that you would come visit more often. She says that may actually be in order, now that I think about it. I am so harried. She shows like a little bit signs of breaking a little bit with emotion. I am so harried with thoughts of the Naglord and his minions encroaching upon the north, and now with my daughter lost, I have not been able to focus on my duties as a lord. I do need to get to Prigwort and check on the defenses that are being built there. But my daughter is in danger, and I will brook no more wasted time. And she stands up and she calls out, and she goes, she's like, "Knights!" It's like very much like the that scene in Excalibur where King Arthur calls all of his knights to him, and Carmina Burana kicks in, and right. So they she calls all of her knights to her as she like saunters out of the hall, and unless do you guys want to ask her anything else or talk to her about anything else?
No, but I want to make an offer. I'll be like, my lady, our lives are already spent in the service of this quest, so we will gladly act as scouts or to your knights and show them where we encountered the creature.
This as well, and I thank you again for your service. And as she so she's immediately sort of surrounded by not courtesans, but like servants and knights, and like people who are like logistics and all that kind of stuff. Like immediately, just she walks out of the room and she's surrounded. And so it's sort of like those walk and talk scenes from like West Wing, right? Like where she's walking down the hallway with a whole bunch of people, and you guys are amongst them, and she's talking to you and shouting out orders at the same time. Like all business now. Like she's laser focused on getting her daughter back, whatever it takes. And you can hear like the whole castle just like come alive, like all of a sudden, like everyone's running around quarters. And just one of the many things that she sort of offhandedly tells a servant, she's like, "Get these men 1,000 pieces of gold for bringing me solid news of the location of my daughter." And then she goes off and like, "They make sure that I have the horses saddled for them." It's like very much like just off the cuff, like bring them 1,000 pieces of gold. And you are brought 1,000 pieces of gold. Congratulations.
I assume, right?
Quick thought, real quick, guys. Is it possible that she could have any sort of influence at Castle Brackenwald with getting us an audience with the bishop? And if so, should we try to get that rather than 1,000 gold? Just a thought. That's one of our two options.
I'm having the same thought, David. I don't think that's a bad idea. Maybe just a letter of introduction, or does 250.
Sorry, Ted.
I know, but 250 gold each buy us what we need.
Yeah.
I mean, we could just ask her, right? We don't say thank you. And by the way, we've heard that the bishop may be able to help us not die.
Let's just tell her, after we have accomplished the retrieval, assisted your knights in the retrieval of your daughter, we've been told by an apothecary in Prigwort that the bishop or one of his higher minions might be able to assist us with overcoming this fell disease. Something along those lines. Does that make sense?
She certainly stops like in the midst of all of her organizing, and she realizes that oh yeah, she's talking to dead men, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she's like, she apologizes, like I've been coarse, and I have forgotten that your fates do not look too kind. The fates do not look too kindly upon you. I will be honest with you. I, of course, can bend the ear of the Duke himself, but the Duke himself does not have sway. It does not have that much sway over the bishop of the church, of the Peleatic Church. He is one of the archbishops of the church, answerable only to the Pope in High Volcantium. So, and as far as I know, I am a true and pious servant of the one true of God, but I do not know much about these divine rituals per se. But from what I know, is that the ritual to purge you of the death rot is of the highest sort of faith that only the bishop and maybe his highest servants could perform, and so his willingness to do this, like my ability to sway him, it will be minimal, but I could definitely get your foot in the door, which is more than most people can do when it comes to the bishop. But I would lower your expectations as to his mercy.
My lady, we can only ask of you what you are able to do.
Well, I will do this in the form of one of the men that I'm going to send with you in order to hopefully ensure the release of my daughter from the clutches of the gloam. And as you're walking through the hallways, you actually stop at out in the courtyard. There's actually a small chapel, very ornate but small. And standing before it, basically strapping on armor right now and like saddling on his horse, is this crazy looking dude. And she may I introduce you to the Reverend Kostantius. That's Kostantius with a K. And this guy whips around, and he's like strapping on like big pieces of like ornate plate mail, you know, having like a servant put it on him. Huge guy, big bulbous nose, like big red bulbous nose, big red mutton chops that complement that nose. And he whips around with like fiery eyes, like the eyes of like true zeal, right? You know, like you know. And he whips around, and then the words that come out of his mouth are actually very quiet. Actually, a very quiet person. And she says, "May I introduce the Reverend Kostantius?" And he bows over his great bulk, and he shoos away his squire who's bolting on his plate mail, and he's like, "It is a pleasure, I'm sure." And you see that he has, although I don't know exactly what it is because I forgot to look it up, but he has the sign. He has the Revelator on his tunic, of course, that announces him as a priest of the Prophet Isaiah, but he is of the order of Saint Cygnus, known as Saint Cygnus the Silent, which is the order of the Lichwords, who are the specific military order that is charged with making sure that the dead stay dead.
I pull out my Revelator symbol and I kneel before him and ask for his blessing.
My child.
Spirit is on
Yeah, exactly. He goes, "Together we will bring the Lady Violet's daughter. We will bring the lady's daughter back to her mother's arms and put this creature back into the ground." And you see, like with that, a servant, like with like it's like a little boy with like a tonsured head, comes forward like on a pillow, coming out of the chapel. Like, you know, he's like offering it towards with like his head down, you know, I can't see in the camera, but like offering it with his head down. There is like this beautiful fuck off mace, right? Like beautifully flanged and ornate and all that kind of stuff, you know, and it's got like silver tips on all the flanges, you know, big like revelator on the, what's the top piece called? Is it Ted, of a mace? Does it really have a name?
A head.
The head, yeah.
It's called a head.
Yeah, it's like a beautifully worked revelator on the top. Like red wrapped hilt, and he like picks it up with reverence, and then like he sticks it into like a hanger on the side of his belt, you know. And
I love GM PCs.
Yeah, exactly.
Begging your pardon, your reverendship. It's a great great miracle that you're accompanying us on account of a promise we made to Sub-Prior Mumsalot up in the Abbey. We haven't apparently previously mentioned, in addition to the gloam, there's rather a large number of animated corpses about up there. It was rather uncanny and extremely upsetting for a dead sub-prior to come speak to us. I hope you might be able to help. It was, sir. You're absolutely right. It was an abomination, and he knew it, and he made us promise to help him. I'm so glad you're coming.
We had to put him down.
I smashed his head in.
He says, my service is to God and to the Lady Harrowmoor. Although I wish to see all of the undead put to their final rest. I do not.
Right.
That is not my mission.
Oh.
The grounds of the ruined Abbey of St. Cloud are unholy. It must be cleansed by a power greater than my own.
Oh, right.
But
still, a little prayer won't hurt, right?
A prayer never hurts.
Yeah, right.
And so, all right. So basically, the force that is going to go south to Prigwort, and then, because they can't really go through the forest, and then west along the Swinney Road, is basically 15 strong, of a retinue of fully armored knights on chargers. These are the best that she can pull from the keep itself. She bemoans the fact that so many of her personal retinue is now up north, kind of protecting the borders from the Naglord, and so that she does not have her full strength here at Harrowmoor Keep. And she does show a little bit of worry that she is basically leaving the keep defenseless. She's only leaving basically some footmen and stuff like that here in order to defend it. Basically, she's sending the full force of her knights to go get her daughter back, along with Reverend Kostantius as well. And with that, she wishes you Godspeed, and she hopes that you will bring her daughter back safely, of course. She gives basically the retinue, although obviously you guys as PCs can mark it down as your own. She's going to give you 2 scrolls. One is a scroll of protection from undead. Okay. Protection scrolls in OSE, particularly protection scrolls, can actually be used by anyone, even if you're not a caster. All right. And she also pulls out, and this also comes out of the chapel, this second one, right? Not the first one. The first one is a magical thing. It's cool, but it's not no ceremony brought out. But this other one is brought out in the same sort of ceremonial way that the mace was brought out. And this is another scroll, but she tells you, actually the Reverend Kostantius would probably tell you, that this is supposedly the actual handwriting of Saint Cygnus himself, according to legend. It's taken from the crypts of the Abbey, where Saint Cygnus was supposed to have sat in silence in the Abbey that he was the abbot of. This is in the legendary times. And he would go down to the crypts and venerate silently the angels and martyrs and saints that were depicted upon the Abbey walls. And he was assailed by phantoms in the crypts one dark night. And all he did was raise his finger to his lips, and the phantoms never haunted the place again. And thus he was known as Saint Cygnus the Silent. And thus the Order of Lich Lords was created. So
I'd be happy.
So this is supposedly his actual handwriting, and this has sort of been a relic that's been passed down through the Harrowmoor family as well. And she is willing to use it and see its destruction in defense and retrieval of her child. It is a scroll of Dispel Evil, which, if you know your OSE, is one of the highest level cleric spells. Very, very nasty 5th level spell.
What was the other scroll? Protection against undead, or just protection?
Protection from undead.
From undead, okay. All right, that's pretty cool.
A spell scroll, which the scroll of Dispel Evil is, can only be cast by someone who has that on their spell list. In other words, in this case, a cleric or a friar. But you do not have to be of a high enough level to cast the spell in order to use it. right? So Kostantius, even though he's nowhere near, and nowhere, I mean, yeah, I made him out to be cool, like a GMPC sort of thing, but he's not that high level. He's nowhere near high enough level to actually cast Dispel Evil. As you can see, Cure Disease is right up there as well. The one that you really want, that also cannot be cast by Reverend Kostantius, and he is nowhere near being able to cast it, so don't even bother asking. Yeah.
He get promoted within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. Okay, so you want? I feel like I've just sort of been narrating shit. Do you guys? I mean,
I want to go.
I'm
Man.
thoroughly
I wanna go
enthralled.
back to
So.
the Abbey right now.
okay.
I want to.
All right.
I have
So
a couple questions.
yeah.
Shush.
I have a couple questions.
Damn.
It just be real quick, Mike. Are we basically like we arrive, we give her the story, she puts everybody on horses, and we ride out again? Is that the basic plan? We're not like leaving in the morning. It's like right now, right?
But she would rather do that. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
You've got
fine.
the time actually, because it only took you a few hours to get here.
Yep.
And
So
on
then-
horses, we should be able to get there still before dark, right?
To
The
Prigwort.
Abbey?
We can get back to Prigwort, and
I mean, those are. It seemed like the horses were very fast.
it's a long way to. Well, no, if we can do 48
it's-
miles in a day,
Yeah, it was only like what 15 or so miles.
Yeah.
from
it was
Prigwort to
16 from the Abbey to Prigwort. I think he said.
Probably take. Let's see. That's
It'd be the rest of the day. We'd be getting to the Abbey at
6,
night.
12. Yeah, you get there by the end of the day, assuming that everything goes well.
The only thing I want to say is that if we're doing this now, as we pass through Prigwort, I need to buy a shield. If I've got
Why
200,
don't you just ask her if you can have a shield from her armory.
oh, I couldn't do that. She's a great lady, and I'm just a poor old broken down fighter from Drag, man. What I'm not going to go around asking her for stuff. She gave me money.
You want me to do it?
Can Halifax ask some of the knights that they're riding with if they have extra shields for himself and for Argus?
You ask like a random knight whether or not they do, and the person that turns around, who is just putting on a helm, turns around and you see that it's Lady Eleanor, of course. Lady Eleanor is this is the sad fact, Halifax. She's younger than you are.
No.
Only slightly, but she is she's not the most beautiful woman. She actually is sort of like a chinless woman, you would say, with a hawk nose, but she has very large eyes that kind of stare you down, right? But you've always known her to be a fair, if somewhat stern, mentor and trainer. And she says, "Why, yes, Master Swinney, of course your friends can have as many shields as they can possibly carry. Although by the looks of them, and by the looks of yourself, that will not be too many. How about she kind of looks at your arm, and she's like, looks like you are not going to be carrying anything for any time soon. That is a shame." And then she sees the marks on your arm, and she shakes her head sadly, basically. And it's a little bit hurtful, right? Like she kind of turns away, like, I thought I had something good there, but won't be much longer.
Sorry, bro. You gonna die.
Yeah.
It's just a scratch. I'm sure we'll be able to take care of it.
And then you see that she readily starts to take command of the troops, and that she will actually be the knight in charge of the expedition. Kind of sharing responsibility. Well, no, she's actually in charge, I would say. Reverend Kostantius is there for like a very specific reason, and he has no authority over those knights, right? Like he's a servant of the church, not he doesn't have any authority within House Harrowmoor.
So Mike, that was my only question. I'm done interrupting your mojo. You can get back to the action. Let's go.
All right, so it's a very sort of grand scene, right? As like 15 knights, this fuck off cleric, and you four, like all like, and Grintog, of course, all like plow out of the front gate of House Harrowmoor, and you will say that you see the lady herself framed against the drawbridge, wishing you well as you plow off to save her daughter, and you churn up the road to get back to Prigwort, which you do. The town is in full, like this is in the middle of the day now, right? So the town is in full swing. Everything it's a nice day as well, so everyone is quite taken aback. The streets are very, very busy as you come barreling through the Groaning Gate right into the town square. This massive retinue. And then I would say probably there's like a 20-minute lull as you sort of water your horses at some place. Lots of grooms and stuff like that come out, try to take the bridles, and the knights like shake them off, like, we've got no time, man. Off to the Abbey. And you plow off into the out the west along the Swinny Road and make your way. Let me check here. Give me one moment, please.
What if a bunch of bandits attacked us right now on the road?
Oh my god, they'd be so fucked. Father fucks a lot. We just destroy them with his mace.
Okay, so nothing untoward happened. So it's been a relatively you're going through the tangled forest. Yeah, the choked ravines of the that's not really that place. Hold on. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the hushed oak woods before the Abbey itself. You can still hear that periodic groaning. The feeling of being in a dream, of course, leaves once again Elfric, replaced by the moaning of the dead. Disappears once again when you're on the Swinny Road, and then, of course, comes back full force when you're within miles of the Abbey itself, as that gaze of malevolence, like something is watching you. And you feel it most strongly, but of course everyone feels a sense of dread as they near the Abbey itself. And once again, everyone sort of, as you near the Abbey, the entire retinue sort of slows down, walks carefully up towards that path, that rocky path that sort of encircles the knoll that leads up to the Abbey. And everyone sort of dismounts, and they look to, I would say, Eleanor for leadership, and she sort of defers to you, like as eyewitnesses, and have encountered the thing itself. They look to you to sort of tell them, like, how are we going to approach this?
Not at night would be my advice.
We do think that the lady will be safe until morning. Through my magical arts, I will try to draw the children towards our group, and see if I can use like my ventriloquism spell to get them to come to us. And then perhaps we can take them without even confronting the gloam, or without having the children be in the middle of the battle. Is that acceptable?
You see, like, Reverend Kostantius, he's like, the thought of using magical trickery, I do not agree with, but I understand. Getting the children to safety.
I do want to assure you that I am vetted by the church, and that although I am but a poor arcane spellcaster, I have the blessing of the one true God.
You do not need to explain yourself to me, only to God in the end, which will be soon for you, sorcerer. But I will say this. It is indeed prudent that we separate the children from the gloam, but the gloam we will have to face one way or the other. It will not allow us to take the children, as you know quite well. Separate the children using whatever magics you have at your disposal. And then and he whips out like the mace, will destroy the gloam.
Well, if we're going to spend the night, we've got a nice campsite, very sheltered, comfy. I hope someone brought a cook pot.
All 15 knights are like, No, okay, yeah. So we'll speed it up. So yeah, you go to the trappers' camp, and they set up like a very a military sort of thing, right? So the tents go up, and the picket lines are set up, and blah blah blah, and it's very da 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 da. And they are ready to rock. They're with a force of 15 knights of House Harrowmoor and a cleric of the one true God in your retinue. There is basically zero chance that anything with any brains is going to fuck with you at night. So that said, I'm just gonna say that there's plenty of fire, plenty of warmth, plenty of camaraderie, and you guys are all able to get a decent night's sleep despite the dread lurking above you a mere about 100 yards away. So you get a good night's rest, and so anyone who's down, you gain 1 more hit point.
I'm at 3, baby.
That's your max.
Hit points, all we need.
So now now it is what?
15th of Limewald.
15th of Limewald. Okay. So on the 15th of Limewald, which is Kali, by the way, market day back in Prigwort, Elfric, your blood loss is now no longer a thing. So you actually you only get up to 3, but your maximum now is back here at 4.
Good. Yup. Thank you.
No, thank you.
I have a quick question, John.
Uh-huh.
It's a thought I had in regards to cook pots. Would it be would it just in general, this isn't specific to our situation, would it be uncommon for someone to take their kettle helm off and throw it on a fire and cook with it?
Yes, it would. It would ruin the hardness of your helmet. Don't ever do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, I'm sure that in medieval times, plenty of dudes did it because they didn't have a cook pot and they had a helmet. But I'm just saying, don't ever cook soup in your helmet.
Okay, good to know.
Taking notes.
All
That
well,
in
they've
Boy
got
Scout.
cook pots. They brought stuff. And also Halifax, your arm is okay now. So
okay.
you've been working it out,
Hey,
basically,
all right.
and you're able to you're like, oh, all right, I think I can. Okay, got it. You can also
Fall off in a few days, but okay, until then.
the 15 nights. That's I should say there's more than 15 people, right? There's the knights also have their squires with them as well. So there's a lot of stuff that goes along with a retinue like this, basically like a mini camp. So there is a shield that you can take with you should you like. That's there, right? And
Would like that very much.
you are expected to help Eleanor don her armor and arm her for battle.
Oh, yeah.
I shall do this.
And then you do so yourself, and everyone is just it's like the commando montage scene, right? Shik, yeah,
Face paint,
fucking going into battle.
bayonet right up. Yes.
So swords, spears, maces all come out. Reverend Kostantius brings everyone together and offers a benediction and a blessing to everybody.
Great.
And we shall go into battle and conquer. And bring the light of God to this unholy place. And you slowly march up the steps.
Wait.
All right.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Roll for weather first. Let's see what kind of environment we're fighting in.
Want me to roll?
Also, I was hoping that we could kind of put my plan into place, but go ahead. Yeah, Ted, roll for weather.
I have an 8.
Oh, joy. It's going to be another lovely day of freezing rain, baby.
It's Ted.
It's fitting, though. This is you wouldn't want it to be a beautiful sunny day when you go fight a gloam, right? You want it to be dark and wet and miserable.
Sure.
And it makes the campfire that much better after our victorious
That's right.
defeat of the gloam.
Hey, the good news is we're already poisoned, so
Right.
Can't poison me twice.
It has already happened.
Yeah, so the blackness on your flesh, guys, has spread enough now that it's not just individual little circles around your wounds. Those have now connected up, basically. And it's it's become more of buboes and more like black veins of stuff, something underneath the skin that are kind of connecting together, right? So there's a fine, intricate lacework of blackness that have it's just a horrible word, isn't it? Buboes.
It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Are they suppurating sores? Are they dripping pus out of the
literally
bubo?
the flesh is necrotizing and turning black.
Does
So
it get crunchy?
Yeah, a little bit of crunchy, little flaking off and stuff like that, and black wisps. Yeah,
Yeah, man.
it's pretty bad. Pretty bad. It has not affected your head area though, so it's pretty easy to kind of keep under wraps. Anyways, So you make your slow way up in the freezing rain.
I finally found the picture of your fucking cleric, dude.
Yeah, man.
There he is,
Yeah,
man.
but red mutton chops though, man. Bare chin, red
Red
mutton
mutton
chops.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So you make your way up in the freezing rain. The everything's very slick, right? So but the sun is not shining at all, so it's just like a patina of ice across the entire grounds, right? You, as the first person steps up onto the through the gate, that ruined gate of the Abbey, you just hear a single like.
Wait, can I do my plan though? Can I try and do my plan?
Yeah, we
Can
should
I-
wait side of the gate for that. Yeah.
Yeah, can I convince the knights and everyone to take up positions to charge? We wait for the kids to come out and collect teeth. I use the ventriloquism to be like, hey, there's really good teeth over here. Draw them away. And then, like lure them past the graveyard kind of thing. And then have the knights like waiting in ambush for the gloam to show up.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you don't want the knights to like be near the tower?
I want them to set up an ambush for the gloam, right? Like I want them to basically take shelter in the ruined wall around the perimeter.
Yeah.
And when the kids like start coming out to collect teeth for the day,
Yeah.
I'm going to use like ventriloquism to be like, hey guys, I found a huge stack of teeth over here. Come on over, guys.
Right.
And then try and draw them as far away from the tower as possible. We snatch them up, kind of like what we did last time, but this time when the asshole shows up, we give him a little bit of that GM NPC love.
Okay. So the all right, yeah, that's fine.
David, I'm using ventriloquism, man.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
should be
it's
so
great.
happy.
No, I am. Yeah. So yeah, you do that, and so what do you say? Like, there's teeth over here, like towards.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, hey kids, we found a whole huge stack of teeth over here. Come on over, and then I'll do like I'll put, since ventriloquism just says you can make your voice appear from any location, like a source or a statue or an animal, but it's like range is 60 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And it lasts like 2 turns, dude. So it lasts like 20 minutes.
Yep.
So I'm going to keep on having it like move farther away from them so that they keep coming. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it doesn't even take that much. So you say that, and within just a couple minutes, you see the 3 children once again, looking raggedy, wearing Violet wearing her raggedy robes and all that kind of stuff. They kind of pop their heads out, Three Stooges style once again, and they say, "Come on, Willie, Bilby, did you hear that? There's more teeth over here in the graveyard." And Willie's like, "Well, I suppose it is time to go get some stuff for Mr. Rag and Bones. Let's go. And so they come popping out onto the snow.
All right, and I keep trying to draw them over. I'll be like, hey, guys, there's like really good teeth over here. Hey, we met a couple days ago, and just kind of keep drawing them a
Bilby
couple.
like yanks on Violet's cloak. He's like, "Violet, who's talking? And she's like, "I don't know, Bilby."
Oh my goodness, look at all these teeth. This is crazy. Look, this one's gold and this one's silver. And these ones are really, really, really white.
Mister, you better show yourself. And that's like Willie has it. And they keep coming and all that, So at this point, they basically like reached the graveyard. Where are all these teeth? Who are you? Where are you? Are you in the mausoleum? You see wisps
not
of
the
black
mausoleum.
smoke. Yeah, around the mausoleum.
I found a giant bag of teeth over here. You guys can have all of them.
Okay, so it has worked, right? They are far away from the bell tower. Now what?
Okay.
But they're not coming closer to the gate.
Far away from the bell tower. Me and the Muppets will grab the kids and make a run for it, knowing that as soon as we grab those kids, Mr. fucking, Brandon Lee is going to come flying out of there. And he's going to kick our ass. So they got to be quick. They got to be counting on the spot, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh man, that was a
The
line.
Muppets are the other 3 PCs. That's what I'm assuming. Is that what's
Yeah,
going
yeah,
on? Okay.
Oh, I'm a Muppet now?
Your minions. Okay. All right. So So you grab the kids. The kids. You leap out. You were waiting in ambush, so I'm not even gonna have them roll for surprise, right? So you You leap out and grab them. Who's got which kid?
I think Harrowmoor guy gets
I'll take Violet. Yeah.
Well, don't all
Which
leave
one
at
you
once to
want?
save the boys.
I could give a shit about the boys.
if none of them will grab, if none of them are going to volunteer,
I'll grab one of the boys. I'll grab one.
I'll
of the
grab
boys.
the little guy. I'll grab the littlest one.
I think those who are already assigned an imminent death should grab the boys because
Yeah, absolutely. And I've already
Ted still has a bright future.
Yeah, I've already used my one spell for the day, so I'm done. I'm just
Okay, so the moment you grab the children, they're like, Mr. Rag'n'Bones, they're back, they're back. Yeah, you know, and within just a split second, like all the crows come out. And they swirl around, vague humanoid form, cawing and screaming. You can hear in the back. It's like, how dare you return? You kind of hear like within like that cloud of crows. And then basically you hear like a now, and that's Eleanor, and they all leap over the ruins of the wall, led by Eleanor and Reverend Kostantius, who just silently is less like leaps over and runs. It just sort of silently like stalks towards like like the bell tower with like his mace like in two hands, just moving forward like a fucking Inquisitor from fucking 40K, and the Gloam, instead of like forming like a humanoid form, just basically attacks everybody, just like crows like all over everybody, including you. So,
sweet. Hoka hey, man, hoka hey.
All right,
so stick a positive, right? So if I get stung by the bee again, I'm clean.
Yeah, right. So don't forget that you are slow, Snell. So.
Oh man.
So John, I was holding back and kind of staying with the knights. Definitely letting them charge ahead of me. So I don't know where exactly you're envisioning everybody being versus graveyard versus gate versus the tower, but if the other Muppets have grabbed the kids and are running towards the gate, then I was imagining I would wait there with the knights at the gate and help to cover their retreat as they're trying to get down the slope. So like I'll do a fighting retreat, down.
I get it. So yeah, too late. Didn't read. I don't want to be attacked. The knights can be attacked.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
got it.
Okay, that's not what I meant. But okay, fine.
In one way, shape, or form.
That's not my point. My point was that Argus is not charging over the wall with the Reverend.
The coward.
You're being Argus.
How much con does he have? Wait. How much con does he have?
Yeah, not enough. Not enough.
Let's just say I will fail that roll if I get scratched.
All right.
Did drawing the kids away from the tower give us any kind of a tactical advantage?
What do you mean tactical
It
advantage?
doesn't sound like it.
And any heightened chance of survival? I don't even know.
Yeah. I'm looking at things. Give me a second here.
All right.
I still think that if we get the kids out of the gate, they'll probably mystically, that's typically where you break the spell. I mean, in all the fairy tales, you get through the gate.
That's what I was hoping in the first round. That's what
the knights converge on this thing, thinking that they're going to be fighting like a single creature.
Yeah.
Much to their dismay, they are not. So I'm not going to be doing this. Basically, if you guys are not going to engage with the thing, and you're going to basically take those children from out of the gate. I'm not going to make this a phase-by-phase battle. So what occurs is based upon the statistics of this creature, okay, it can basically attack up to six different creatures per round in its flock form. With the obvious foes of the knights and the cleric in front of it, that's who it's going to attack. All right? You guys take the children out. So they are screaming and kicking, and it's all you can do. Basically, your movement is halved as you're trying to like get these kids out from underneath the gate. You make it out with the kids. And you're waiting for the Gloam to suddenly be like, okay, I guess they got him. It doesn't happen, right? Yeah. Like getting through the gate, it's like means nothing to the Gloam.
It's nothing.
Yeah. So there's no magical barrier that protects the Abbey or anything like that. So that's kind of a bummer. As you're like, okay, are we okay now? Can we all retreat with the kids? And the Gloam is like literally shredding these knights to pieces, right? So without even rolling, based upon the Gloam stats versus what a knight's average stats are, the Gloam makes short handiwork of at least like 5 of those knights. Right, like they just there's like screaming and blood and feathers, just like it is the rabbit, and it's just awful.
Been there, bros. You know what you're going through. Feel your pain.
Yes. So you still silent, not commanding anybody. Very, very quiet is Reverend Kostantius, who basically towers over everybody else. But you hear his whispering voice basically kind of cut through everything, and he goes, "Creature, face me." And the thing like whips around at it, and it's basically like a Gandalf versus Balrog sort of situation. It's fucking epic, right? Like the two, like the Gloam coalesces down into like its humanoid form, like with the long beak and like the claws made of crow's beaks. You know what I mean? It's like it goes right down into its face, into Kostantius's face, and he whips out the mace, right? And they basically start to duke it out. And no one seems to be getting the upper hand. And you see that it's going to be one of those situations where the mace, despite what its probable powers are not going to be enough. He initially tries to actually turn the creature, and that has 0 effect. Like he holds forth like his holy symbol, and it's like, "Be gone, creature," and it just like moves forward and rakes him, and it's bad news.
Can we cast that protection from undead on him?
Yes, you can, absolutely.
If no one else has it or thinks of it, I'll just grab it out of Alfric's pocket and cast it on the Reverend.
Okay.
Yeah, what was the other spell again? Sorry.
We have a protection
Only he can
from
use it.
undead and a scroll of dispel evil, which I can't cast.
Only he can
cast it. Yeah.
Only he can cast it. So
I thought
hope
he had
has
it though. Yeah, I thought that was the whole thing.
I assume he has it, but
Yeah,
John
has
said any of us can have
Okay.
the other one. So
Well, I'm assuming you
Gotcha.
didn't take the one that you can't use at all, right?
Yeah.
right. I'll just. I thought of it. I'll grab it. I'll cast it on him.
Yeah, give me a second here. Clear spells.
Is it a first level spell, John? Protection.
It's not a spell. It's just it's its own thing. Protection scrolls are not spell scrolls. Let's see.
Are they like ancient earth magic kind of thing, or?
Huh? No, it's just OSE, right? There's protection scrolls, which anybody can use.
Oh, right.
And then there are
Right.
spell scrolls, which only people who have those spells in their list can cast, right? So
I see.
Yeah. All right, so you throw up the protection from undead spell, like, and you can see like the
Right.
field, like, and there's like a revelator that sort of forms in the air, like around him. He nods at you briefly in thanks for it, as the Gloam reaches for him and is repelled back. He's like screech like that, and he takes that moment to basically pull out of a scroll tube, and he does it like a flourishing motion where he like whips out the scroll and is like, and like down it goes. He holds it with 2 hands, and he's like, "By the power of the prophet, I saw," the order of Satanus, and he's like, "I banish you to the 9 hells," and you see like the words of Satan, supposedly the real words of Satanus, as he reads them, like light up in like green flame, just, and the scroll like burns up from the bottom. Actually, I suppose from the top, and as he does so, the Gloam has to make a thingy thing. Where is it? Real quick, sorry. I know we're getting close to the end here. All right, thank God.
He fails.
So he's like, "Be gone," and it screams, bursts into like its big flock of crow forms, and then those crows basically go in every single direction, right? Just like, and they flutter off in like all directions, all cardinal directions, like.
Wow.
And then silence drops over in the freezing rain, and then permeated by the moans of the dying and wounded knights. And the silent crying, I'm sorry, not the silent crying, but the very noticeable crying of the children that are underneath your arms just past the gate, who are crying, clutching you because there's no one else to clutch. And you can see that they are obviously distraught because they have no idea where they are. And they're like, who are you? It's so cold, so cold. And they recognize each other, like Willie and Bilbrey and Violet, you know? And like, what are we doing here? Who are these? And then they start to recognize some of the knights. Lady Violet's like, Lady Eleanor, where are we?
All right, Argus will rush into the crowd of knights and start trying to help the wounded.
Oh yeah, that's a good call. I'll do the same.
Yeah.
Halifax is gonna comfort Violet, say, "Oh, it's okay. You know, we've been sick here."
I give a blanket or my bedroll to like one of the other to the younger kid that I was carrying out, and then I'll go help Ted.
Okay, cool. All right, so
He would wrap her up, try to get her warm.
Yeah, Halifax, do you want to watch the kids as we go help? Just sort of be... Yeah.
Put on a little puppet
I'll offer a bedroll as well. You know, we try to stay dry.
I left all my stuff with the horse, but that's okay.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, I pull a bedroll out of a sheath. I'm always on the ready. Fair enough. Question: of the mooks, several are injured. Are any of our named GNPCs scratched with the rot?
No, they are not. So basically, you have 5 knights are dead. Around 5 knights.
Ooh.
5 knights are wounded and have the rot, but they're not named. And 5 are fine.
Gotcha.
All the wounded ones got the rot. None of them made their save.
No, I mean, I'm just,
Yeah, okay. I'm just clarifying.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible, man. Do we have? I have a spear. We could make a litter and bring some bodies down the hill, or we can go down and get the horses, I guess.
Well, so I have a thought. Even though there's nothing to verify it, they just immediately got wounded, and you made the recommendation to amputate on contact earlier, but it had already been some time since we had been scratched. With the knowledge we have, do we want to recommend for any of the wounded soldiers to do that, or is it just as bleakly hopeless as possible? I don't know, right? Like, is that something we should try to suggest? Does that sound like madness?
Well, I'll
Everyone's
pull out
quiet.
my mace and I'll say, I don't think this is going to work great, but I'll try.
No, but you hear what I'm saying, though, right? Like, is it possible to save any of these lives?
Well, and Halifax would bring that up to Lady Eleanor. Maybe we have this. We're going to try to deal with it. We don't know if we're going to be able to. It's kind of gruesome. Perhaps if the source of the disease is removed quickly.
So Eleanor is she's not happy about it. She tends to agree that trying something is better than nothing. You see that Reverend Kostantius is actually having an argument with her as he kind of points to you guys, and he points to the wounded men, and he says, these are dead men and women walking. It would be a mercy to end their suffering now.
Oh, that seems harsh. I mean, at least take them home and let them die and lie in honor and in the Hall of Harrowmoor.
Their lives making the Dolmenwood safer. Die anyway. You might as well.
Snell says we've heard whisper. Actually, out of character, this might be very obnoxious. So feel free to shoot it down, John. But we've heard whisper of a cure. Perhaps these men would like, as we may ourselves try, to vie for their survival together. As in all of us.
Reverend Kostantius is like slowly, he's like dismantling his armor and like putting his mace away and everything like that, and he basically doesn't even look at you in the eye, and he's like, "You do what you wish. I have no authority here."
Sure. So what I'm getting at, guys, is if we go into this crazy forest, we could invite them to come with us.
Yeah, I think that's
Why don't we can go to the Duke and say, "Look at us, wounded men, servants of," or whatever, right? Like. Or not the Duke, but the Bishop. But I think having them as an additional example to our malady might be helpful. I don't know.
So are
It's
you
up to
going
you
to
guys.
are you going to cut off limbs right now?
Well, I think what I would say to all of them is it's every man's choice. We don't know
It
if
might
this
work.
will.
It might
We don't
not.
know if this will save your life. It may not. We are too far gone.
Okay, so
Would
here's
you like
One-
us to
here's
try?
the deal: is that Reverend Kostantius is basically like spent, right? Like he's not like loaded up with like
Sure.
cure light wounds. That's not that kind of game, right? So he has so basically it would take like you guys being able, and the other thing too is like clerics are not just like natural healers like they are in like later editions, right? They're priests, right? They minister.
Right.
So if all of them are willing, like they're all like like they that when they hear about what the rots how they're going to die, they're more than willing to like lose a limb. Like they'll like whatever, just do it. In order to do it, you guys would have to make that same check that you had to that Argus had to do.
Yeah.
On Snell, which is to do a half your intelligence or lower ability score check in order to make sure that you actually perform a clean amputation that's not going to like just bleed them out. You know what I mean?
Uh,
And
But
that's
it
if we don't have now, because if we wait, it'll be too late.
No, it has to happen either now or they just quest with us to try to find a cure, I think.
Both the
Sorry.
men and Eleanor will not judge you if you accidentally kill these men. Like they understand what the risks are,
Sure.
and that you know what I mean. Like things could go wrong. And
I'll
they,
do it.
you know, so why don't we
I
do
have a
that? It's late, so why don't we just do 5 rolls to see if you actually cure these men? Any one of you guys can roll at any point with those 5.
And so it's int, right? So
It's
half of
your int rounded down. You have to hit that number or lower on a d20 in order to succeed.
All right. Well, my int's 15.
Mine is 11, so.
mine's a 13. I think you're our best.
All right, so I have to hit 7s, but the thing is you guys were not seeing my die rolls, so.
Just roll them with real dice. It's fine.
So they were all 3s.
All right, so 5 rolls. First one is a 3.
Oh, hit.
One.
Nice. Wait, what?
All right, second one is
One save,
a 5.
Hey!
Oh my god. Okay. All right.
Third one is a 20. Sorry, bro.
Ooh.
Fourth one is an 11.
Is that a success?
No. I basically have to hit a 7 or lower.
All right. Let's see where it ends.
2%.
Fifth one is a 3.
Oh, hey.
Hey!
All right. The ratio is not that. I mean,
Nice.
all right. So this we'll leave it with this really grim picture, which is basically like butchery on the snow. It's just cold butchery. There in the room.
Trying to distract the little kids. Look over here.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
They hear this.
Elfric has found his new calling as he manages to save the
Sure,
lives
you're
of
Marvel.
3 of those men. Is basically the way we'll look at that instead of accidentally killing.
Hey, look, I figured it out. I had a thing through my planet that said hide hidden dice rolls. So now I figured out why it was not.
There you go. Okay. All right. So you managed to save the lives of 3 of them. So you cut off their arms or their legs, and they are going to be okay.
Really? Wow.
Okay.
I will grant you the mercy that I was not given.
So
It's that one thing that Mandrake stuff said that it could regrow limbs as well as possibly cure them.
That's true. He did say that.
That's true. And that's the untreated mandrake as well. So the so those men could actually regrow those limbs with the knotted mandrake. But I will say that basically your need to cure any men now except your cells of the rot is now gone, right? Like 3 of them have been cured of it because you amputated quickly. Two of them are dead.
And you are dead.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Cool.
That makes sense. Cool.
All right. So what is your plan before we leave for the night? What is your plan for next time?
I think we go back to Prigwort. We escort the daughter to Harrowmoor Keep. Maybe reap some additional reward. And then
Party.
do we head down to Castle Brackenwall? That seems like a really far ride, dude. For
It doesn't
what
seem like that far, really. It's just a few days, and it's on a road.
I mean, it's 2 days if we have
Probably
these
only
horses.
one day if we can borrow horses. But the thing about it is it even worth it? Like,
I-
is it even?
Sounds like the bishop could care less. If the attitude of wow, his name just eludes me. Of
Where the Golden Wood is? Where is that?
Reverend Mutton Chops.
Mutton Chops is whose name is
Kostantius.
goodness. I remembered it. Kostantius. Thank you. If his attitude is any indication of the clergy's attitude, it is probably pretty unlikely that they're even going to let us in the door.
Well,
Like
That's just my guess,
well,
but
that's one man. That's one man.
that's one man,
And he
yes,
is
but
part of a certain order, right? Who are their own little
Sure,
sect. You know?
sure.
might
Fair,
be
fair.
able to, like, barter some kind of service or something,
So, would you rather dance with the Fae in a forest with a bunch of, one-legged men, or would you like to go to Castle Brackenwall and die on the steps of the chapel?
Well, it's not going to take us 2 weeks to get down there. I think we go down, ask for help. If they tell us to you're on your own, then we go back and try to find the men.
Where is Golden Wood? I can't find it on the map.
It is not located on. It is not labeled on the map, but it is right. Oh, hold on. It should be like right around here. Can you see
Okay,
that?
so it's on the way to
Go to
Brackenwall.
Brackenwall, and then just head north into the woods.
They told you that you should get to the refuge of St. Key, which is right here,
Mm,
and then
okay.
and then head northeast, or you could go to the town of Orbswallow, which is along this road here, but not labeled,
gotcha.
which is a moss
South.
dwarf community, and head south. So it's
Gotcha.
somewhere right around here.
So yeah, let's go to Brackenwall first. We might as well try.
They might take.
I mean, after going to Harrowmoor and all that.
So
yeah.
before all that happens, because you are
50 gold each, so we can buy fucking rations.
we will when you return to Prigwort and you reap your reward and all that kind of stuff, you will actually be assuming that you can get back to town safely. You'll be not only have your wealth, which you can distribute however you want, but you also have that as experience points, which is huge for you guys. In addition, because you'll be safe at home, perhaps you might feel a little bit risk versus reward and might be up for a little bit of carousing. I will drop the rules on you and let you know and make the decision for yourself whether or not that you'd be up for a little bit of bonus XP with the chance
I'm definitely going to die. Can I ask you this? Can I create like a fund to inherit my next character?
yeah, the old
That's
will
that
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Argus would be honored to take care of that as executor or legal counsel.
It's
and
never seen again.
Exactly.
No, I'm
Yeah.
Is
a good
Argus?
character. I'm not,
Hey Ted,
I'm not a
quick
thief.
question. No, I know, Ted. I have a quick question. Does Argus have any distant uncles or relatives with the last name of Longshot? Or
yeah, like,
Not-
yeah.
not
One James long shot. Yeah.
Now, Jimmy
It's an
would have
in-joke,
taken
folks.
it.
It's an in-joke. Don't worry about it.
sorry, yes. Not a trustworthy fellow, is all I'm saying. Anywho, yeah.
All right, cool. So the plan is probably Castle Brackenwell, but we'll make the final decision next time.
Cool.
Anyways, thanks everybody once again, both the players for playing and for everyone for watching the video. Just want to take a quick shout out to everybody. I reached out just over 400 subscribers, which is pretty awesome. We're all pretty happy about that. So obviously, please spread the word, like and subscribe, and all that kind of good jazz. And we will see you guys next time.
Thank you, John.
Adios.